The night is quiet. The stars rest above the wide valley of the Nile, shining softly over fields that have waded through many seasons. A warm breeze drifts across the river. It carries the smell of wet earth, fresh reeds, and distant cooking fires that have nearly gone cold. Somewhere in the darkness, frogs sing beside the water. A slow current moves around patches of tall papyrus without hurry. This is ancient Egypt. Not the Egypt of great kings standing proudly beneath towering monuments. Not the Egypt remembered mostly for golden masks or hidden tombs beneath endless sand. Tonight, we quietly leave those places behind. Instead, we walk down a narrow dirt path beside the Nile, where ordinary people begin and end each day with careful hands and tired feet. Here, life moves slowly with the river. The seasons are measured not by clocks but by the rising and falling of the water. Every loaf of bread, every woven basket, every handful of grain depends upon its gentle rhythm. Far away, beyond the sleeping fields, the first faint line of dawn has not yet appeared. The world is still wrapped in darkness, and most homes remain silent. Inside one small mud brick house, a young boy sleeps on a woven reed mat. His name is Hori. He is perhaps 12 years old, though birthdays are not counted the way they might be in another place or another time. His life is measured instead by harvests, by floods of the Nile, and by how much taller he has become beside the doorway where his father quietly marks each passing year. The room around him is simple. Its walls are made from sun-dried mud bricks mixed long ago with straw from nearby fields. The ceiling is supported by rough wooden beams cut from local trees. Small cracks have appeared over many summers, but they are carefully repaired whenever fresh mud can be mixed. The floor beneath him is cool and packed smooth by many feet. A clay jar stands quietly near the wall, filled with water carried from the river before sunset. Beside it rests another jar containing grain that must last until the next harvest. A woven basket hangs from a wooden peg to keep mice away from precious food. Nothing inside the home is wasted. Everything has a purpose. Outside, the village sleeps beneath countless stars. The streets are narrow, little more than packed earth between rows of homes standing close together. Goats rest beside fences made from reeds. A donkey shifts its weight, making only the smallest sound before becoming still once more. The air is cooler now than it will be later. By midday the heat will settle heavily over everything. Stone, earth, and skin alike will hold the warmth of the sun. But before dawn, there is a peaceful softness that the people of the village know well. Hori stirs gently. He opens his eyes before anyone calls his name. Years of routine have taught his body that work begins before sunrise. He sits quietly for a moment, listening. He hears his father's breathing nearby. He hears his younger sister still sleeping. From outside comes the distant splash of someone already collecting water from the Nile. Another day has begun. His mother is awake before everyone else. She kneels beside a flat grinding stone, moving another smaller stone slowly across dried grain. Back and forth. Again and again. The sound is gentle. Stone against grain. Grain against stone. It is one of the oldest sounds in Egypt. Many mornings begin exactly this way. The flower collects little by little. Her arms move with practiced rhythm. She has repeated these same motions thousands of times. Soon she mixes the flour with water. The dough feels cool beneath her fingers. She shapes small round loaves that will bake inside a clay oven warmed by yesterday's remaining coals. Fresh smoke rises through the quiet air, carrying the comforting smell of bread into the sleeping village. For Hori, that smell means morning. He washes his face with cool water from the clay jar. There is no mirror. He does not stop to look at himself. There is work waiting. His father ties a simple linen cloth around his waist and checks the wooden handles of two farming tools resting against the wall. One needs tightening. He quietly fixes it with a strip of leather while eating a small piece of yesterday's bread. Nothing is hurried. There is no reason to rush. The Nile has kept this same rhythm for generations. Outside, the eastern sky slowly changes. Black becomes deep blue. Blue becomes gray. A single bird calls from somewhere near the riverbank. Another answers. The village begins to wake. Doors open one by one. Neighbors greet each other with quiet voices. Children carry baskets nearly as large as themselves. Old men sit outside, stretching stiff backs before another warm day begins. Women balance clay jars upon their heads with remarkable steadiness as they walk toward the river. Nobody speaks loudly. Morning belongs to gentle sounds. Hori and his father begin walking toward the fields. The path beneath their sandals has been worn smooth by countless footsteps. Dust rises softly around their ankles. On either side grow date palms, their leaves barely moving in the morning breeze. Soon they reach the edge of the cultivated land. The Nile has already begun its yearly gift. Long ago, the flood waters covered these fields, leaving behind dark, rich soil. Now that the water has slowly returned to its banks, the earth is ready for planting and tending once again. To the people here, this dark soil is life itself. Without it, there would be only dry desert stretching endlessly beneath the sun. Hori kneels and lets the soil slip through his fingers. It feels cool, soft, almost silky after the flood. His father smiles quietly. Good soil means hope. Good soil means bread. Good soil means another season. They begin working before the sun climbs higher. The work is simple. Pull weeds. Check irrigation channels. Repair small walls of packed earth that guide water across the fields. Watch carefully for signs that birds have found a young grain. Every task matters. None of them seem grand. Yet together they keep the village alive. Nearby another family works their own field. An elderly grandmother scatters seed while humming a tune so old that no one remembers who first sang it. Her grandson gently follows behind, pressing seeds into the moist ground with careful feet. A little farther away, two brothers guide oxen pulling a wooden plow through freshly softened earth. The animals move slowly, patiently. Their steady breathing mixes with the soft scraping of wood against soil. As the morning continues, sunlight spreads across the valley. Golden light touches every roof, every field, every palm tree. Mist rises gently from the river before quietly disappearing into warming air. The Nile itself seems almost asleep. Its surface reflects the brightening sky like polished stone. Fishing boats drift silently near the reeds. Their sails hang almost still until a light breeze finally arrives. One fisherman casts his woven net with practiced ease. It opens in the air like a great circle before settling softly onto the water. He waits. Fishing has always required patience. There is little talking. Only watching. Only waiting. Back in the fields, Hori wipes sweat from his forehead. The morning is still young, yet already the heat begins to grow. He drinks from a small clay flask filled before sunrise. The water tastes slightly of river clay. Cool enough. Good enough. His father tells him stories while they work. Not stories of kings. Those belong to priests and scribes. Instead he tells stories of ordinary grandfathers who farmed these same fields. Of years when floods came too high. Of years when they came too low. Of neighbors who shared grain during difficult seasons. Of kindness remembered long after names have faded. Hori listens carefully. These stories are part of his inheritance. Not written on papyrus. Not carved into stone. Simply carried from voice to voice across generations. By mid-morning, birds gather near irrigation canals. White egrets step delicately through shallow water searching for insects stirred by farming. Dragonflies hover above quiet pools. Tiny fish flash beneath the surface. Life surrounds every drop of water. Even in this dry land, the river creates countless small worlds. When the sun finally climbs high overhead, work slows. The air becomes heavy. The earth gives back the morning's warmth. Farmers rest beneath the shade of date palms whenever possible. Hori sits beside his father. His mother has packed bread, onions, dried fish, and a few sweet dates wrapped inside linen cloth. The meal is plain. It is filling. They eat slowly. Nobody wastes food. Nearby another family laughs quietly as their youngest child accidentally drops a date into the dust before quickly brushing it clean. The donkey tied beneath the tree watches everyone with sleepy eyes. Flies buzz lazily through the warm afternoon air. The village seems almost to pause beneath the weight of the sun. Even the river appears quieter now. After resting, work begins again. There are baskets to fill. Canals to clear. Tools to repair. Every movement is slower now. The heat asks everyone to conserve their strength. No one argues with it. The sun always wins. As afternoon slowly stretches onward, Hori notices an older man sitting near the edge of the fields. He is a scribe. Unlike most workers, his hands are smooth. His clothing is cleaner. Beside him rests a small wooden writing board. He carefully records measurements of grain and irrigation channels using neat rows of signs that few people in the village can read. Hori watches with quiet fascination. The marks seem almost magical. Tiny birds. Eyes. Lines. Curved shapes. Each one carries meaning. His father notices the look. Writing feeds the kingdom, he says softly. But these fields feed the people. Hori nods. Both seem important. Both belong to Egypt. The afternoon light begins to soften. Shadows grow longer across the fields. The worst of the heat slowly passes. People straighten aching backs. Children gather loose bundles of reeds. Women begin walking home with baskets balanced carefully upon their heads. The smell of evening fires slowly returns. Another day is gently drawing toward its close. And above the calm waters of the Nile, the first birds begin their quiet journey home. The evening settles softly over the village. The last light of the sun lingers on the tops of the date palms before slowly fading into gentle shades of blue and gray. The heat that filled the fields all afternoon begins to loosen its grip. A quiet breeze drifts across the Nile, carrying with it the cool scent of fresh water and damp reeds. Keem sits just outside his family's home beside his father. Neither of them speaks very much. After a long day in the fields, silence feels comfortable. It is not empty. It is simply another way of resting. His mother places a clay bowl between them. Inside are warm lentils cooked until they have become soft, along with pieces of fresh bread still carrying the faint smell of the oven. A few onions and several ripe dates complete the evening meal. The family eats slowly. Every piece of bread is carefully torn by hand. Nothing is hurried. The day's work has already been finished, and tomorrow has not yet arrived. For a little while, there is only the quiet comfort of food shared together. As darkness grows deeper, more people step outside their homes. Children who spent the day helping their parents now chase each other through the dusty lanes with what little energy remains. Their laughter rises into the evening air before slowly fading as mothers call them home. An old man sits upon a low stone near the well. He has seen many harvests. His hair has turned the color of white linen, and the deep lines across his face have been shaped by countless seasons beneath the Egyptian sun. Several younger farmers gather nearby. They listen while he speaks in a calm, measured voice. He does not tell stories about great kings. Instead, he speaks of the river. He remembers floods that rose higher than anyone expected. He remembers years when the water came gently and left behind rich black soil across every field. He also remembers seasons when the flood arrived late, leaving farmers to watch the sky with worried eyes. The Nile decides much of life here. No family can command it. No official can bargain with it. Every year the river follows its own patient rhythm. It rises. It spreads across the fields. It leaves behind fertile earth. Then it slowly returns to its banks once again. The people have learned not to fight its ways. Instead, they learn to work with them. Keem has heard these stories many times before. Yet he never grows tired of listening. Each season teaches something new. Even the oldest farmers say they are still learning from the river. As the stars brighten overhead, the village grows quieter. Oil lamps flicker inside small homes. The smell of smoke from cooking fires drifts lazily into the night. Some women continue weaving linen by the gentle light of the lamps. Their fingers move almost without thought, crossing thread over thread until another length of cloth slowly appears. Nearby, a potter finishes shaping the last bowl of the day. His hands are covered with smooth gray clay. The wheel turns more slowly now. Tomorrow there will be more jars to make. More bowls. More storage vessels for grain, water, oil, and beer. Everything in the village depends upon someone's careful hands. The baker depends upon the farmer. The farmer depends upon the potter. The potter depends upon the reed gatherer who cuts fuel for the kiln. Each life quietly supports another. No one speaks of this very often. It is simply understood. Later that evening, Keem's father stands and walks toward the edge of the village. Keem follows beside him. The narrow path leads to the riverbank where several small boats rest against wooden stakes driven into the soft earth. The water reflects the moon like polished silver. Tiny ripples gently break the reflection before allowing it to form again. A fisherman sits quietly inside one of the boats, repairing a net that caught on hidden branches earlier that day. His fingers move patiently through the tangled fibers. A single lantern hangs nearby. Its warm light shines across the damp wood of the boat. The fisherman nods politely as Keem and his father pass. No one interrupts his work. Fishing begins before sunrise. The nets must be ready. Keem kneels beside the water. He reaches out and lets his fingers touch the cool surface. The river flows around his hand without stopping. He watches tiny circles spread outward before disappearing into the darkness. His father finally speaks. The river never keeps still. Keem nods. It is always moving. His father smiles gently. So must we. The words are simple. There is no lesson announced. No long explanation follows. The older man simply watches the water beside his son. Sometimes wisdom arrives quietly. Sometimes it sounds no different from ordinary conversation. They remain there until the night grows cooler. Above them, countless stars stretch from one side of the sky to the other. The familiar constellations help travelers find their way across the desert. Farmers have watched these same stars for generations. Their fathers watched them. Their grandfathers watched them. Long after Keem is gone, other children will stand upon this same riverbank beneath these same lights. The stars ask nothing of anyone. They simply shine. Before returning home, they pass the village shrine. It is small compared to the great temples found in larger towns. Its walls are built from the same mud bricks as the surrounding homes, though they are carefully covered with white plaster. Fresh flowers have been placed beside a small offering table. Someone has left a loaf of bread. Another person has placed a small bowl of beer. Simple gifts, offered with quiet gratitude. No crowd gathers. People come and go throughout the day according to their own needs. A farmer may stop before entering the fields. A mother may whisper a prayer for a sick child. An elderly man may simply stand for a few peaceful moments before continuing home. Faith here is woven gently into ordinary life. It does not interrupt the rhythm of work. It moves beside it. Back at home, Keem climbs onto the flat roof with his younger sister. Many families sleep outside during the warmer months. The open air feels cooler than the rooms below. Their mother spreads woven mats across the roof. Blankets are folded neatly near each sleeping place. The sounds of the village continue for a little while longer. Someone quietly sings while rocking a baby to sleep. A donkey shifts its weight. Crickets begin their endless evening song. Far across the fields, jackals call to one another in voices carried by the night wind. None of these sounds feel frightening. They belong to the night just as birds belong to the morning. Keem lies on his back and looks upward. The stars seem brighter now. He wonders how many people across Egypt are looking at this same sky. Perhaps fishermen far downriver. Perhaps builders working near great temples. Perhaps shepherds resting beside their flocks in distant fields. Though they may never meet, they all sleep beneath the same stars. His eyelids begin to grow heavy. Tomorrow will begin before sunrise once again. There will be more grain to gather. More bundles to carry. More canals to inspect. More bread to bake. The days follow one another like the gentle current of the Nile. Different in their small details, yet comfortingly familiar. A soft breeze crosses the rooftop. It carries the scent of fresh water and distant papyrus reeds. The woven mat beneath Keem has kept a little warmth from the day, but the night air slowly cools it. Around him, the breathing of his family becomes slow and steady. The village falls asleep one home at a time. The potter's wheel has stopped turning. The baker's oven has grown quiet. The fisherman has laid aside his repaired net. Only the Nile continues its endless journey through the darkness, whispering softly against its banks as it has done for thousands of years, and as it will do again before the first pale light of another peaceful Egyptian dawn. The night passes quietly over the valley. Above the village, the stars continue their slow journey across the dark sky. The moon hangs lower now, casting a pale light across the rooftops and the narrow paths between the homes. The Nile reflects that light in long, gentle ribbons that bend and shimmer with the steady current. The air is cooler than it was only a few hours before. It is the kind of coolness that never lasts very long in Egypt. Soon the first warmth of the coming day will return, and the desert beyond the green valley will begin to glow beneath the rising sun. But for now, the breeze is gentle, carrying the scent of damp earth, fresh reeds, and the faint sweetness of flowering plants growing beside the canals. Keem sleeps soundly on the flat roof beside his family. His dreams are quiet. There are no grand adventures. Instead, he dreams of fields stretching beside the river, of birds lifting into the morning sky, and of walking beside his father through rows of barley that sway like gentle waves beneath the wind. Long before the sun appears, his father opens his eyes. He has awakened this way for many years. No one calls his name. No bell marks the hour. His body has simply learned the rhythm of the seasons. He sits quietly for a few moments without speaking. The village remains asleep. Only the distant croaking of frogs and the soft whisper of the river break the silence. He looks toward the eastern horizon. The darkness has begun to soften. A faint silver line stretches above the distant hills. Morning is slowly making its way toward the valley. Carefully, he stands so that he does not wake the others. The woven mat beneath him gives a quiet rustle. He climbs down the small ladder that leads into the house below. Soon, a tiny flame flickers inside the clay oven. The fire is small at first. Dry reeds catch quickly. Thin branches follow. Before long, a steady glow fills the room with warm orange light. His wife joins him without a word. Together they prepare for another day that will be much like yesterday, and yet never exactly the same. She kneads fresh dough inside a large clay bowl. The flour was ground the evening before, saving precious time during these early hours. Her hands press and fold the dough with slow confidence. She has made bread almost every day since she herself was a young girl learning beside her own mother. Outside, another oven comes to life. Then another. One by one, small threads of smoke rise into the still morning air. The village is waking. Soon the familiar sound begins once more. Stone against stone. Grain being ground into flour. The rhythm is slow. Even. Patient. It echoes softly through the narrow streets. Keem wakes to that sound. For a moment he simply lies still, listening. He knows exactly where he is without opening his eyes. He knows the smell of fresh bread drifting upward from the house. He knows the cool feeling of the morning breeze. He knows the gentle voices of his parents speaking below. These are the sounds of home. He stretches slowly before climbing down the ladder. His younger sister is already awake, rubbing sleep from her eyes as she helps their mother arrange freshly baked loaves inside woven baskets. The bread is warm enough that thin streams of steam rise into the cool air. Its smell fills every corner of the little home. Keem smiles. No matter how many mornings pass, fresh bread always smells comforting. Breakfast is simple once again. Warm bread. A little goat cheese. Several dates. Fresh water drawn from the storage jar. The family eats together before the day's work separates them. No one speaks very much. Morning is peaceful. There will be time for conversation later. After breakfast, Keem's mother hands him 2 empty clay jars. Before the sun grows strong, she says softly, "Bring fresh water." He nods. This task is one he has done many times. The jars are not heavy while empty. He carries one in each hand as he walks through the village. Already, people have begun sweeping the dusty ground before their homes. A woman hangs wet linen cloth across a line stretched between 2 wooden poles. A little boy chases several chickens that have wandered too close to a vegetable garden. An elderly man sits upon a low bench, carefully repairing a woven basket with fresh reeds. Nothing feels hurried. Every movement seems to belong naturally to the beginning of the day. The path to the river has become smooth after countless footsteps over many generations. Its edges are lined with reeds that sway gently whenever the breeze passes through them. Tiny birds dart among the tall green stems. Dragonflies skim across the quiet water. The Nile itself looks almost asleep beneath the pale morning light. Mist rises gently from its surface. It hangs low above the water before slowly disappearing as the sky brightens. Keem kneels beside the bank. He lowers one clay jar carefully into the river. The cool water flows inside with a soft, bubbling sound. He lifts it slowly. Now it is heavy. He fills the second jar just as carefully. Water is precious, even beside the great river. One cracked jar can mean many hours of extra work. As he begins walking home, he meets an old fisherman making his way toward the boats. The man carries a neatly folded net over one shoulder. His feet know every stone along the path. He smiles kindly at Keem. "The river is calm today," he says. Keem looks toward the smooth water. "It is. A calm river is generous," the fisherman replies. "Perhaps the fish will be generous too." The old man continues toward his boat. His pace is slow but steady. Years spent rowing against the current have strengthened his arms while teaching him patience. Fishing is never hurried. The river cannot be rushed. Back in the village, the marketplace has begun to awaken. It is still quiet compared to what it will become later in the morning. Merchants spread woven mats across the ground. Clay pots are arranged in careful rows. Bundles of onions, garlic, and fresh herbs are placed where they catch the gentle morning light. A basket filled with figs sits beside another overflowing with dates. A potter arrives carrying newly fired bowls balanced carefully upon a wooden frame. Each one is slightly different. No two hands shape clay in exactly the same way. Nearby, a woman unrolls lengths of fine linen she spent many weeks weaving. The cloth catches the early sunlight. It is simple, strong, beautiful in its quiet usefulness. Keem pauses for only a moment before continuing home. His mother will need the water. The bread dough has already become tomorrow's bread. The day's chores have only just begun. When he reaches the house, she thanks him with a warm smile. Together they pour some of the fresh water into smaller jars used throughout the day. Another jar is covered carefully to keep the water cool for as long as possible. The morning grows brighter. Sunlight begins reaching across the rooftops. Long shadows stretch toward the west before slowly shrinking. Already the air feels warmer. The coolness of dawn quietly slips away. Soon the village lanes are filled with familiar sights. A young apprentice follows his uncle to the carpenter's workshop. The smell of fresh cut wood drifts into the street. Wood is valuable in Egypt. Every piece is used carefully. Nothing is wasted. The carpenter examines each board before deciding how best to shape it. Nearby, the blacksmith works with bronze tools rather than iron, for iron is still rare and precious in these days. His small furnace glows warmly. A hammer rises and falls with calm, measured strikes. Each sound rings softly through the morning air. Further along the lane, a scribe sits outside beneath the shade of a sycamore tree. His reed brushes rest beside a small wooden palette holding black and red ink. A smooth sheet of papyrus lies before him. People come to him with requests. One man wishes to record the amount of grain delivered after the harvest. Another asks for a letter to be carried to relatives living farther down the Nile. Many villagers cannot read the graceful signs that cover temples and official buildings. The scribe has spent years learning them. His work is careful, patient. Every symbol must be placed correctly. Every line must remain neat. Keem often watches him from a distance. He finds the flowing marks fascinating. To him they seem almost alive. Birds, eyes, hands, waves, plants. Each sign carries meaning. Each one preserves words long after voices have become silent. His father notices the boy watching. Perhaps one day, he says quietly, you will learn more than farming. Keem looks surprised. I like the fields. His father nods. And the fields will always need caring. He looks toward the scribe beneath the tree. But every village also needs those who remember. The words stay with Keem as they walk toward the canals together. The irrigation channels must be checked before the day's heat becomes too great. Small gates made from wood and packed earth guide water into different fields. Sometimes a channel becomes blocked with mud. Sometimes reeds grow too thick. Sometimes a wall weakens after many weeks beneath the flowing water. The work is slow. They walk beside the canal carrying wooden shovels. At one place, water has begun leaking through a small crack. His father kneels immediately. Using wet clay mixed with straw, he carefully presses fresh mud into the opening. Keem watches closely. The repair is simple. Yet without such care, valuable water would slowly escape into the wrong places. Many small tasks keep the village alive. Most people never speak about them. Yet every repaired basket, every cleaned canal, every sharpened sickle, every loaf of bread, and every filled water jar becomes another quiet thread woven into the life of the community. As the sun climbs higher, the calls of birds become less frequent. Even they seek shade during the hottest hours. The breeze grows warm. Dust rises more easily from the paths. Workers wipe sweat from their brows with pieces of linen. The day's labor continues at its familiar pace. No one races. No one wastes strength. The Nile has taught generations of people that life is not won through haste. It is sustained through patience. And so, beneath the ever-brightening Egyptian sky, Keem walks beside his father once more, following the narrow canal that carries the river's gift through the fields. Around them, the barley whispers softly in the warming breeze, the village hums with the quiet music of ordinary work, and another peaceful day begins its slow and steady journey along the timeless banks of the Nile. The morning continues with quiet purpose. The first golden light has now spread across the valley, touching every field beside the Nile. The river glows softly beneath the rising sun, its surface smooth except where the current curls gently around clusters of reeds. White birds stand perfectly still in the shallow water, waiting with endless patience for a fish to swim close. The air is still pleasant. It carries just enough coolness to remind everyone that dawn has only recently passed. Before long, that coolness will disappear beneath the steady warmth of another Egyptian day. Keem and his father walk slowly along the irrigation canal. Their sandals leave faint prints in the damp earth beside the water. Every few steps they stop to examine another wooden gate that directs water into the neighboring fields. Some gates stand open. Others remain closed until their turn comes. No field receives more than its share. The farmers understand that every family depends upon the same river. If one person takes too much water, another family's crops may suffer. There are no written signs beside these canals. There is only memory. Each farmer knows which fields should receive water first and which must patiently wait. The knowledge has passed from parents to children for many generations, spoken aloud while walking these very same paths. Keem kneels beside a narrow channel where bits of floating reeds have begun to gather. Without saying anything, he reaches into the cool water and clears the small blockage. The current immediately begins flowing more freely. His father notices. Well done. Only 2 words. Yet they fill Keem with quiet pride. His father is not a man who gives many compliments. When he speaks kindly, every word feels important. They continue walking. Soon they reach a neighboring field where another family has already begun working. An elderly woman bends slowly among rows of onions, carefully pulling weeds from the soil. Her movements are gentle but steady. Though her hair has become silver with age, her hands still know exactly how to care for the earth. Nearby, her grandson carries small baskets from one end of the field to the other. He looks about the same age as Kim. When their eyes meet, they smile. No greeting is needed. They have known each other since they were very small. Sometimes they fish together. Sometimes they help each other's families during harvest. Today there is little time for talking. The work comes first. As the sun climbs higher, the village grows busier. More people appear along the dusty paths. A merchant leads 2 donkeys carrying woven baskets filled with dried fish preserved with salt. The animals walk slowly, their ears flicking away tiny flies that drip through the warming air. Behind him comes another trader with bundles of fresh papyrus stalks tied neatly together. The tall green plants have many uses. Some will become baskets. Some will become mats. Others will be carefully prepared into sheets for writing. Nothing from the river is wasted. Everything finds its purpose. Farther down the road, several women gather near a shaded well. Large clay jars stand beside them. They take turns lowering long ropes into the cool darkness below. As each jar reaches the surface, clear water sparkles briefly in the morning light before being poured into waiting containers. The women speak softly while they work. Their conversation rises and falls like the gentle movement of the river itself. They speak about children. About bread. About a goat that wandered into someone's vegetable garden. About an elderly neighbor whose knees have become stiff after many years of labor. Their voices are calm. No one rushes away. Fetching water is work, but it is also one of the few quiet moments when neighbors naturally gather together. Back in the fields, Kim's father pauses beneath a broad sycamore tree. Its thick branches spread wide across the earth, offering welcome shade. Already the heat is becoming stronger. He removes his woven hat and wipes his forehead with a linen cloth. Kim drinks from a small water skin. The cool water feels wonderful after walking beneath the growing sun. His father looks across the fields. Rows of barley shimmer gently in the breeze. Beyond them stand patches of flax, their slender stems moving together like ripples across a quiet pond. In the distance, date palms sway slowly against the bright sky. It is a good morning, his father says. Kim nods. The river has been kind. His father smiles. Yes. Nothing more needs to be said. The river has been generous. Everyone can see it. A flock of small birds suddenly settles among the grain. Within moments, several children run laughing across the edge of the field, waving their arms to encourage the birds to fly elsewhere. The birds rise together in one graceful cloud before settling a short distance away. The children laugh again. One little girl stops to catch her breath. She picks up a feather left behind and tucks it carefully into her hair before running back toward her mother. Simple treasures are often the sweetest. As the morning continues, Kim's father begins repairing a wooden rake. The handle has loosened after many seasons of use. He sits cross-legged beneath the shade while carefully wrapping fresh leather strips around the joint. His hands move with practiced confidence. Tools are valuable. A well-made tool may serve a family for many years if treated with care. Throwing one away would seem almost unthinkable. Kim watches closely. His father notices his interest. Come. The boy kneels beside him. His father places the leather strip into Kim's hands. Pull firmly. Kim does exactly as instructed. The leather tightens around the wooden handle. His father secures the final knot. There. He hands the rake back to Keem. It will last another season. Keem runs his fingers across the smooth wood. He enjoys learning these small repairs. Every lesson feels useful. Every skill belongs to daily life. Nearby, the quiet sound of a flute drifts across the fields. A shepherd watches over a small flock of goats grazing along the edge of the valley where green fields slowly give way to the golden desert beyond. He plays while his animals feed. The melody is simple, slow, gentle. It rises into the warm air before fading beneath the soft whisper of the breeze. No one applauds. The shepherd does not perform for anyone. He simply enjoys the company of the music during another ordinary morning. The hours pass almost without notice. The sun continues climbing. The shadows beneath the trees grow shorter. The warmth settles across the valley like a heavy blanket. Even the insects seem quieter now. Many workers tie pieces of linen around their heads to shield themselves from the brightest sunlight. Others pause briefly to drink. No one speaks loudly. The heat encourages calm voices. Near one of the canals, Keem notices an old turtle resting half beneath the water. Its shell is dark with age. It remains perfectly still, as though it has become part of the riverbank itself. Only when a dragonfly lands upon a nearby reed does the turtle slowly lift its head. Its movements are unhurried. Patient. The sight makes Keem smile. His father notices. Some creatures know that there is no reason to hurry. The boy watches the turtle disappear quietly beneath the water. The gentle ripples soon fade. By now, the smell of baking bread has long since drifted away from the village ovens. In its place comes another familiar scent. Fresh straw warming beneath the sun. River mud drying beside the canals. Dust rising from well-traveled paths. Sweet figs ripening in shaded gardens. These are the scents of an Egyptian morning. They change with the seasons, yet always feel familiar to those who call the valley home. As midday slowly approaches, workers begin thinking about the coming rest beneath the trees. Their bodies know the rhythm well. Work while the morning is cool. Pause when the sun stands highest. Return again when the afternoon begins to soften. The Nile has taught patience. The land has taught endurance. Together they have shaped the lives of countless ordinary people whose names have faded into history, though their quiet routines continue to echo through the ages. Keem looks once more across the shimmering fields. The barley bends gently beneath the warm breeze. The canal carries its steady ribbon of life through the valley. Beyond it, the great river flows as it always has, calm and dependable, carrying tomorrow toward the village one peaceful current at a time. By the time the sun reaches the middle of the sky, the valley has changed. The gentle coolness of dawn has disappeared, leaving behind the steady warmth that every farmer along the Nile knows well. The light is bright, almost white, and it settles across the fields without hurry. The mud brick homes reflect the heat. The dusty paths shimmer softly in the distance. Even the reeds beside the canal seem to stand more quietly now. The work slows. Not because the harvest is finished, but because the land itself asks for a slower pace. Keem wipes his forehead with the edge of his linen tunic. Tiny drops of sweat disappear almost as quickly as they form. His hands are dusty from lifting bundles of barley, and a few small pieces of straw cling to his sleeves. His father rests the wooden rake upon the ground. It is time. Only those few words are needed. The workers throughout the neighboring fields seem to understand the same moment. One family gathers beneath a cluster of palms. Another walks toward the broad branches of a sycamore tree that has offered shade for longer than anyone can remember. Its trunk is wide. Its roots push gently through the earth like quiet waves frozen in time. Its branches spread so far that many people can rest beneath them together without crowding. Keem and his father carry a woven basket to the tree. His mother arrives a short while later, having finished her own work for the morning. She carries another basket balanced carefully upon her head with such ease that it almost seems weightless. His younger sister follows behind. She holds a small clay jar with both hands. Inside is cool water drawn before sunrise. The family settles onto woven reed mats placed beneath the shade. The difference is immediate. Outside the circle of leaves, the sunlight feels heavy. Inside, the air is cooler. The breeze slips through the branches, carrying with it the soft scent of leaves warmed by the sun. For a little while, no one speaks. The silence is peaceful. It is the silence of people who have worked honestly since dawn and who are grateful for a moment to rest. His mother unwraps the midday meal. There is fresh bread baked before sunrise. A small bowl of mashed chickpeas mixed with herbs. Slices of cucumber still cool from the morning. Several onions. A handful of ripe figs. A little soft cheese wrapped in linen cloth. The food is simple. Yet after many hours in the fields, it feels rich. Each piece is shared carefully. No one reaches quickly. There is enough for everyone because everyone takes only what is needed. Nearby, another family laughs quietly as a little boy tries to carry a loaf of bread almost as large as his head. His older sister gently tears it into smaller pieces for him. Their grandmother smiles without saying a word. Her eyes have watched children grow for many decades. She knows that one day this little boy will carry baskets heavier than he can imagine today. But today he is simply a child. The breeze grows a little stronger. It stirs the branches above. Tiny patches of sunlight dance across the ground, moving slowly over the woven mats. Keem lies back for a few moments. He watches the leaves moving against the bright sky. Their gentle motion makes the afternoon seem even quieter. His father closes his eyes. He is not asleep. He is simply resting. Years of farming have taught him that even a short pause beneath the shade gives new strength for the work still waiting ahead. Not far away, an elderly woman slowly spins flax into fine thread. Her fingers never seem to stop moving. Even during rest, her hands find quiet work. The spindle turns smoothly. Round and round. The thread grows longer. She hums a melody so softly that only those nearest can hear it. It is an old tune. Perhaps her own mother once sang it beneath another tree many years before. Perhaps her grandmother sang it before that. No one remembers where it began. It simply belongs to the valley now. Keem watches a line of tiny ants crossing the ground. Each one carries something many times larger than itself. A crumb of bread. A dry seed. A small piece of leaf. They travel in neat lines, disappearing into a tiny opening near one of the tree's roots. He wonders how such small creatures always seem to know exactly where they are going. His sister notices them too. She carefully places the smallest crumb from her meal near their path. The ants discover it almost at once. Within moments several more appear. The children smile quietly. Their mother gently reminds them not to disturb the little creatures. They are working, she says softly. Just like us. The afternoon remains peaceful. A shepherd passes nearby with a flock of sheep. The animals move slowly, stopping now and then to nibble at patches of grass growing near the canal. Tiny bells tied around the necks of a few older sheep make soft sounds with every step. The music is gentle. Never hurried. The shepherd carries a long walking staff polished smooth by years of use. His sandals are covered with dust from many miles of walking. He nods politely as he passes beneath the shade. Everyone returns the greeting with warm smiles. Travelers are common along the river. The Nile connects village after village like a long ribbon woven through the land. Some people travel only a short distance. Others journey for many days, carrying grain, linen, pottery, or stories from places farther upstream. Each traveler brings news. Not exciting news. Simply the quiet happenings of ordinary life. A new baby born in one village. A bridge repaired in another. Fields where the flood water reached a little higher this year. Markets where dates have ripened early. Life moves gently from village to village, carried almost as naturally as the river itself. Beyond the shade, the fields shimmer beneath the afternoon light. The barley seems almost golden now. A few white ibises step carefully through the shallow water near the irrigation channels. Their long legs hardly disturb the surface. They pause often, watching for insects or tiny fish. Keem enjoys observing them. Their patience reminds him of the fishermen who wait beside the river before sunrise. Nature rarely hurries. The old turtle from the morning has returned to a warm patch beside the canal. Only its head and shell are visible above the water. A dragonfly lands gently upon its shell. Neither one seems bothered by the other. The stillness of the moment settles quietly over everyone nearby. Even the children lower their voices. A little farther away, two craftsmen sit beneath another tree repairing baskets woven from papyrus reeds. The edges have become worn after carrying grain during the harvest. Rather than making entirely new baskets, they carefully replace only the damaged strips. Fresh reeds are woven through the older ones. The repair is almost impossible to notice. One craftsman smiles as he finishes. A basket that is cared for remembers many harvests. His companion nods. So do the hands that carry it. Their conversation fades into comfortable silence. The smell of warm straw drifts across the fields. Mixed with it comes the rich scent of damp soil near the canals. Somewhere nearby, someone peels an orange-colored melon, and its fresh sweetness briefly joins the warm afternoon air. Above the valley, a hawk circles slowly. Its broad wings hardly move. It simply rides the warm currents rising from the earth. Keem follows its path until it becomes little more than a dark shape against the endless blue sky. He wonders how the land must look from so high above. The winding river. The neat green fields. The scattered villages. The narrow roads where people walk beside donkeys carrying baskets. Perhaps, from above, every life seems like a tiny thread woven into one great cloth. His father opens his eyes and notices the boy watching the sky. What do you see? Keem smiles. The hawk. His father looks upward. It sees farther than we do. For a moment they both watch in silence. Then his father adds, almost to himself, but even the hawk returns to the earth. The words drip gently into the warm afternoon. No lesson follows. Only the quiet understanding that every creature has its place. A soft breeze stirs once more. The leaves overhead whisper together. Shadows begin, almost too slowly to notice, to stretch a little farther across the ground. The hottest part of the day has begun to pass. Workers throughout the valley rise one by one. Some roll up their woven mats. Others finish the last bite of bread or take one final drink of cool water before closing the clay jars. Keem helps his mother gather the empty bowls. His sister folds the linen cloths with careful hands. His father lifts the repaired rake and rests it across his shoulder. No one complains that the rest has ended. The fields are waiting. The barley still sways in the afternoon breeze. The canals still carry the river's life through the rich black earth. The harvest continues, just as it has for countless seasons before this one. Together, the family steps back into the warm sunlight, leaving behind the cool shade of the ancient sycamore. Behind them, the tree remains quiet and patient, ready to welcome tired workers again tomorrow, just as it has welcomed generations of farmers whose footsteps have long since faded into the soft earth beside the timeless Nile. The afternoon begins quietly. The sun is still high above the Nile Valley, but its fierce brightness has softened just enough for the workers to return to the fields. The shadows beneath the date palms have grown a little longer, stretching across the dusty paths like dark ribbons laid gently upon the earth. A warm breeze drifts across the canals. It carries the smell of wet mud where the water meets the banks, mixed with the dry scent of straw left behind after the morning's work. Somewhere among the reeds, a small bird sings a simple song before falling silent again. Keem walks beside his father once more. The reed basket in his hands is empty now, waiting to be filled again with neat bundles of barley. His steps are slower than they were at sunrise. Everyone's steps are slower now. No one expects the afternoon to move quickly. The heat itself teaches patience. As they enter the field, the barley rustles softly around them. Its dry heads nod gently in the breeze. Each stalk has spent many months growing beside the life-giving waters of the Nile. It has felt cool mornings, warm afternoons, quiet nights beneath the stars, and the careful hands of the people who tended it every day. Now its work is complete. Now it is the people's turn to gather the gift the earth has given. Keem kneels and picks up his small flint-blade sickle. The smooth wooden handle fits comfortably into his hand. He remembers holding it for the first time when he was much younger. Back then it had seemed almost too large. Now it feels almost like part of his arm. His father begins cutting the grain with slow, practiced movements. There is no wasted motion. One hand gathers a handful of stalks. The other guides the curved blade beneath them. A gentle pull. A soft whisper. The stalks fall neatly together. Again. And again. And again. The rhythm is calming. Before long, Keem finds himself moving in the same quiet pattern. The sounds around him blend together. The whisper of barley. The distant call of birds. The steady murmur of water flowing through the canal. The soft scrape of sandals against dry soil. It is almost like listening to the land breathing. Not far away, another family works beside them. An older boy carries finished bundles to a growing stack near the edge of the field. His younger sister follows behind, gathering loose stalks that have fallen to the ground. Nothing useful is left behind. Even the smallest handful of grain matters. Their grandmother sits beneath a small awning woven from reeds. She cannot walk as easily as she once did, but her hands remain busy. She carefully ties bundles together with strips of flax. Her fingers move slowly, yet every knot is neat and secure. No one tells her to rest. She would rather help. Helping gives shape to the day. From time to time she looks toward the children. Not to hurry them. Only to watch them with quiet affection. Keem notices her smile whenever the younger children laugh. It reminds him of his own grandmother, who lived many seasons before he was born. His mother often speaks of her while baking bread. She says her hands were never still. There was always grain to grind, linen to mend, seeds to sort, stories to tell while the evening lamps burned low. Sometimes Keem wishes he could have known her. He wonders what advice she might have given him. Perhaps nothing very grand. perhaps only to care well for his tools, to be kind to his neighbors, to rise before the sun. Simple lessons, the kind that quietly shape a life. A breeze passes through the field. The barley bends together like gentle waves crossing the river. For a moment, everyone pauses. The moving grain catches the sunlight, turning pale gold beneath the bright sky. It is a beautiful sight. No one says so aloud. There is no need. The beauty belongs to everyone equally. Nearby, 2 oxen stand patiently beneath a small shelter made from palm branches. Their morning work is finished for now. Their broad sides rise and fall slowly as they breathe. One flicks its tail lazily to chase away flies. The other lowers its head toward a bundle of fresh reeds placed before it. Even the animals follow the gentle rhythm of the valley. Work. Rest. Drink. Eat. Rest again. The afternoon moves quietly onward. A farmer from the neighboring field walks over carrying a clay water jar. Without a word, he offers it to Keem's father. The older man accepts with a grateful nod. He drinks only enough to satisfy his thirst before passing it to Keem. Then the jar is returned. No payment is expected. Tomorrow, perhaps another family will share their water. Or lend a tool. Or help repair a broken canal wall. Neighbor helps neighbor. It has always been this way. The village could not live any other way. As the work continues, small clouds begin forming far above the distant desert. They are thin and white, offering little shade. Still, they soften the sunlight for a short while. The air feels slightly easier to breathe. Keem glances toward the river. From where he stands, he can just see the tops of several fishing boats moving slowly along the current. Their square linen sails catch the breeze. Some boats travel north with the river. Others move south, their crews rowing steadily against the gentle current. They carry many things. Clay jars. Baskets of grain. Bundles of papyrus. Fresh fish packed carefully in woven containers. Sometimes they carry travelers. Sometimes they carry news. The Nile is more than water. It is the road that joins countless villages together. Without it, each community would stand alone. With it, the whole valley breathes as one. A flock of ibises lifts into the air from the edge of a nearby marsh. Their white feathers shine brightly beneath the afternoon sun. They circle once above the fields before disappearing toward the river. Keem watches until they become tiny white dots against the blue sky. His father notices. They always know where to find water. Keem smiles. The river calls them. His father nods gently. The river calls us too. Those simple words linger in Keem's thoughts. Every morning the village wakes because of the river. Every evening it rests beside the river. Children are born near it. Old people spend their final years listening to its gentle current. Every loaf of bread, every basket of grain, every clay jar of fresh water begins with the Nile. The afternoon slowly grows quieter. The birds seek shade. Even the insects seem less busy. The only steady sounds are the soft whisper of the barley and the patient work of many hands. Keem bends once more to gather another handful of grain. His shoulders ache a little now. His hands feel rough. A tiny blister has formed near one finger where the sickle rubs against his skin. He notices it only briefly. Then he returns to his work. These small discomforts are part of the harvest. His father has many such marks upon his own hands. Each one tells the story of another season. Another field. Another year beside the river. As the sun begins its slow journey toward the western horizon, the light changes almost without anyone noticing. The bright white glow of midday becomes softer, warmer. The barley takes on a deeper golden color. Long shadows begin stretching once again across the fields. The heat slowly loosens its hold upon the valley. A cool breeze, almost forgotten during the middle of the day, begins to return from the river. The workers lift their heads. No one says it aloud, but everyone feels it. The hardest hours have passed. There is still work to do before sunset, but the evening is quietly making its way across the land. Keem straightens his back for a moment and looks across the wide valley. Beyond the fields, the Nile glimmers peacefully beneath the lowering sun. The fishing boats drift steadily along its ancient waters. Smoke rises in thin lines from distant village ovens where evening bread will soon begin to bake. The world feels calm. Not because life is easy. The work is heavy. The days are long. Hands grow tired. Feet become dusty. Shoulders ache beneath baskets of grain. Yet there is comfort in the familiar rhythm of each passing day. The river flows. The crops grow. Families work together. The sun rises. The sun sets. And through it all, the quiet life of the Nile continues, as steady and gentle as the current that has carried countless forgotten people through countless peaceful seasons. The afternoon slowly begins to lean toward evening. The sun is no longer high above the valley. Instead, it drifts gently toward the western desert, where low hills rest beneath a sky that has begun to soften from bright white into warm shades of gold. The light changes little by little, almost too slowly to notice. Yet every farmer feels it. The hardest heat has passed. A cooler breeze arrives from the Nile. It slips quietly through the barley, brushing across the tops of the grain and making the fields whisper together. The sound is soft and steady, like countless gentle voices speaking all at once. Keem pauses for a moment. He lifts his head and closes his eyes. The breeze carries many familiar scents. Fresh river water. Dry straw. Warm earth. Palm leaves. The faint sweetness of figs ripening in nearby gardens. These smells belong to home. He knows them as well as he knows the sound of his mother's voice. His father finishes tying another bundle of barley with a strip of flax. He places it carefully beside many others already waiting. The pile has grown throughout the day. Each bundle represents hours of careful work. Each one will become flour. Each one will become bread. The harvest is more than grain. It is the promise of meals during the months ahead. It is comfort during winter mornings. It is the quiet knowledge that the family has prepared well. Around them, the neighboring fields are beginning to empty. Some families have already loaded their grain onto wooden sledges pulled by patient oxen. Others carry smaller bundles by hand toward the village. No one rushes. The evening allows everyone to move at a gentler pace. There is enough light remaining. The sun is in no hurry to disappear. A pair of oxen begins pulling a heavily loaded sledge along the dusty path. Their broad hooves press deep into the soft earth. The wooden runners slide quietly over the ground with a long, gentle scraping sound. The farmer walking beside them speaks only a few soft words now and then. The animals know the way. They have traveled this same path through many harvest seasons. Keem watches them disappear between rows of date palms. Beyond the trees, he can see the rooftops of the village glowing in the warm light. Thin lines of smoke have already begun rising from a few cooking fires. Soon many more will appear. Evening meals are beginning. His mother gathers the last loose stalks left behind in the field. She bends slowly, placing each handful into a basket. Nothing useful should be wasted. The earth has given generously. The family accepts that gift with care. Nearby, Keem notices several small sparrows hopping through the harvested rows. They search for scattered seeds hidden among the stubble. Their tiny feet leave delicate marks in the dust. One bird pauses only a few steps away from him. Its head tilts from one side to the other as if studying him with quiet curiosity. For a brief moment they simply look at one another. Then, with a quick flutter of wings, the little bird rises into the air and disappears toward the reeds beside the canal. The valley is full of such small moments. Most pass unnoticed. Yet together they make each day complete. As they continue gathering the final bundles, voices drift across the fields. Not loud voices. Simply neighbors speaking as they work. One man asks about another family's donkey, which had wandered away 2 days earlier. It has been found grazing peacefully beside a distant canal. Everyone smiles. A woman wonders whether the figs will ripen before the next market day. Another replies that the fruit has become sweeter after the recent warm weather. The conversations move gently from one subject to another. There is comfort in familiar talk. The people know one another well. Many have lived beside each other since childhood. Their parents worked these same fields together. Their grandparents likely did the same. The land remembers them all. The Nile remembers them too. Far beyond the fields, the river continues its endless journey. A broad trading boat glides quietly downstream. Its square sail is filled by the evening breeze. The linen cloth glows softly against the golden sky. Several men stand upon the deck arranging baskets beneath woven coverings. A young apprentice carefully coils a rope near the bow. Everything aboard the vessel is done with calm attention. The river rewards patience. Haste serves little purpose here. Keem often wonders where such boats travel. His father has spoken of towns farther north where the river widens before meeting the sea. He has heard of larger cities where temples rise above busy streets and scribes spend their days recording grain, taxes, and shipments arriving from distant lands. Yet for Keem, those places feel almost like dreams. His own world is here. These fields. This village. This quiet bend in the Nile. And for now, that is enough. A gentle breeze stirs once more. Palm fronds rustle high above. Their long leaves catch the lowering sunlight, casting delicate shadows across the ground. A group of children walks along the edge of the field carrying empty baskets. Their day's work is finished. One little boy proudly carries a single barley stalk taller than himself. His older sister laughs softly and helps him balance it across his shoulder. The stalk is almost weightless now, but the boy walks with great seriousness, imagining himself as strong as the grown farmers. The adults smile. No one interrupts his game. One day he truly will carry heavy loads. There is no need to hurry that day. Near one of the irrigation channels, an old farmer kneels to inspect a small wooden water gate. Its hinge has become stiff after many weeks beneath the sun. He pours a little river water over the wood and gently works the gate back and forth until it moves smoothly once again. Beside him stands his grandson, watching every movement. The old man says very little. He simply demonstrates. The boy observes carefully. Some lessons are not taught with long speeches. They are taught through quiet hands repeating careful work. The evening light grows richer. The fields begin to glow. The harvested barley reflects the sunlight like woven gold spread across the earth. The canals become ribbons of copper and amber. Even the mud brick homes of the village seem warmer beneath the fading sun. Keem's father looks toward the sky. It will soon be time. Keem nods. He knows what comes next. The last bundles will be loaded. The tools will be gathered. The field will be left to rest until tomorrow. One by one, the family begins collecting everything they have used throughout the day. The sickles are wiped clean with small pieces of linen. Bits of straw caught between the flint blades are carefully removed. The rope used for tying bundles is coiled neatly. The empty water jar is lifted onto his mother's shoulder. His father checks the field once more. Not searching for mistakes. Simply making sure nothing has been forgotten. A forgotten tool could disappear beneath drifting sand or morning dew. Care today makes tomorrow easier. As they prepare to leave, Keem turns for one last look across the wide valley. The breeze moves through the remaining grain. White birds settle beside the canals for the evening. A pair of fishermen push their narrow boat gently away from the bank, preparing to cast their nets before darkness arrives. The river catches the lowering sun, and for a few quiet moments it seems as though it is carrying liquid gold instead of water. No one speaks. There is no need. The beauty of the hour belongs to everyone. The family begins the slow walk home. Their sandals press softly into the dusty path. Behind them, the field grows still. Ahead of them, the village waits with warm bread, cool water, quiet conversation, and the gentle glow of oil lamps that will soon shine through open doorways. Above it all, the sun continues its unhurried descent toward the western horizon, ending another peaceful day beside the timeless Nile, just as it has done for countless generations of ordinary people whose quiet lives flow gently with the river's endless course. The day begins to settle into evening. The sun hangs low above the western desert, growing softer with every passing moment. Its bright white light has become warm and golden, spreading across the valley like a quiet blanket. Long shadows stretch over the harvested fields. The canals reflect the sky in shades of amber and copper, while the gentle waters of the Nile carry the colors downstream without a sound. Keem lifts one end of a woven basket filled with barley. His father takes the other. Together they carry it toward the village. The basket is heavy. Their arms grow tired after only a short distance, yet neither complains. They have carried many such baskets before, and they will carry many more before the harvest season comes to an end. The dusty path feels familiar beneath their sandals. Every bend in the road is known. Every palm tree has stood there for as long as Keem can remember. The little stones beneath his feet seem almost like old friends, quietly waiting for another evening walk home. Behind them, the fields slowly become still. Only a few workers remain, finishing the last small tasks before night. One farmer kneels to gather forgotten stalks of barley. Another checks the wooden gate along an irrigation canal, making certain the water will flow correctly through the night. Nearby, two young boys lead a pair of oxen toward their shelter. The animals move slowly, their day's work complete. Their broad shoulders are dusted with fine golden chaff. One of the boys gently pats an ox upon its neck. "Well done," he whispers. The animal flicks one ear but continues walking with calm, steady steps. The people of the village understand that the animals work as faithfully as they do. The oxen pull the plows. The donkeys carry heavy baskets. The goats provide milk. Even the little chickens scratching in the dust give eggs almost every morning. Every creature has its place. As Keem and his family continue along the road, they pass a grove of date palms. Their tall trunks rise high above the earth, their crowns gently swaying in the evening breeze. Some dates have already ripened into deep shades of brown. Others still glow golden beneath the fading sunlight. Several villagers have climbed into the trees using loops of rope around their feet and the trunks. They work carefully. Large woven baskets hang beside them, slowly filling with fruit. A few ripe dates fall gently into the dust below. Children hurry to collect them before anyone steps upon them. One little girl brushes the sand from a date with the edge of her linen dress before happily placing it into her basket. She smiles as though she has found a small treasure. In many ways, she has. Farther along the path, the smell of bread begins to drift through the evening air. The village ovens are busy once again. Fresh loaves are baking for the night's meal and for tomorrow morning before sunrise. The scent is warm and comforting. It mixes with the smell of smoke from dried reeds burning beneath the clay ovens. Keem breathes deeply. No matter how tired he feels, the smell of fresh bread always seems to give him a little more strength. His mother notices him smiling. "You smell supper." He laughs softly. "I do. So does everyone else." Indeed, many villagers are smiling as they walk home. Not because the day has been easy. Their backs ache. Their hands are rough. Dust covers their feet and clothes. Yet evening brings comfort. The work is finished for today. The harvest can wait until morning. A small dog trots happily through the village street. Its nose stays close to the ground as it searches for dropped crumbs near the ovens. Children call its name. The dog pauses long enough to accept a gentle scratch behind one ear before continuing its important search. Nearby, an old cat stretches lazily upon the warm stones outside a potter's workshop. The day's sunlight still lingers in the bricks, making them pleasantly warm beneath its paws. Inside the workshop, the potter carefully places freshly shaped bowls upon wooden shelves. Tomorrow they will be dry enough for the kiln. Today they must simply rest. Rows upon rows of clay vessels stand quietly together. Some are large enough to store grain for an entire family. Others are small cups for drinking water. There are narrow-necked jars for oil. Wide bowls for mixing dough. Tiny containers for perfume made from fragrant flowers. Each vessel has been shaped by patient hands. Each will become part of someone's ordinary life. The potter wipes a little clay from his fingers and steps outside. He watches the sunset for a moment before returning to his work. The clay can wait no longer. It must be covered before the night air grows cool. Across the street, the carpenter closes the wooden shutters of his workshop. Inside, carefully stacked boards rest against the wall. Simple stools stand upside down upon a workbench. Wooden tools hang neatly from pegs. The carpenter runs his hand across the smooth handle of his favorite adze before placing it carefully upon the shelf. Every tool has earned its place. Every tool deserves care. The narrow streets become busier for a little while. Farmers return from every direction. Some carry baskets balanced upon their shoulders. Others push small sledges loaded with grain. Women walk home carrying clay water jars with graceful balance. Older children help younger brothers and sisters step around puddles left beside the canals. Voices drip gently through the evening air. No one speaks loudly. The day's labor has softened everyone's mood. People greet one another with warm smiles. They ask about aging parents. They admire healthy crops. They mention tomorrow's work. The conversations are simple, comforting, familiar. Near the center of the village stands the small marketplace. During the busiest hours of the morning it is full of movement. Now it is growing quiet. Merchants gather their remaining goods. Bundles of onions are tied together. Clay lamps are wrapped in straw. Woven baskets are stacked one inside another. A woman folds several lengths of linen cloth with slow, careful movements. The market does not disappear. It simply rests until another sunrise. A young scribe walks through the square carrying a roll of fresh papyrus beneath one arm. He has spent the day recording grain deliveries for nearby farms. His fingers are stained with black ink. Tiny flecks remain beneath his fingernails despite washing them in river water. Keem watches him pass. He wonders once again what it must feel like to spend a day writing instead of harvesting. His father notices. The scribe grows tired too. Keem looks at him. His hands look clean. His father smiles. His hands become tired in different ways. The boy thinks about this. Every kind of work asks something from the body. The farmer gives his strength. The potter shapes clay until his shoulders ache. The baker rises before dawn. The fisherman rows against the current. The scribe bends over papyrus until his neck grows stiff. Each person carries a different kind of weariness. Each kind is honest. As they near their home, Keem hears the gentle splash of water from the nearby canal. A pair of ducks glides across its calm surface. Tiny ripples spread behind them before fading into stillness. Reeds sway quietly along the bank. Several dragonflies hover just above the water, their delicate wings catching the last rays of sunlight. An old fisherman sits upon a flat stone repairing one final tear in his net. His lantern has not yet been lit. There is still enough daylight. His hands move slowly through the fibers. Tie. Pull. Tighten. Again. 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 He has repaired this same net countless times. He knows every knot by memory. The rhythm is soothing. Almost like breathing. The village grows quieter with each passing minute. Smoke rises gently from every rooftop. The smell of lentils cooking in clay pots joins the warm scent of baking bread. Somewhere nearby, someone begins grinding spices with a stone mortar. The fragrance of coriander and cumin drifts softly through the cooling air. A little farther away, a mother sings quietly while rocking her baby in her arms. Her voice is gentle. The child slowly closes sleepy eyes. The melody carries through the evening like the soft current of the Nile itself. Keem reaches the doorway of his family's home. He carefully lowers the basket of barley beside the wall. His shoulders feel lighter at once. His father places a hand upon the boy's shoulder for only a moment. "You worked well today." The words are simple. But Keem treasures them. He smiles without speaking. The evening has brought many small comforts. The work is done. The grain is safely gathered. Home is warm. The smell of supper fills the little house. Beyond the village, the Nile continues its endless journey beneath the glowing sky, carrying the last light of the day toward the distant north while the first quiet stars begin to awaken above ancient Egypt. The first stars appear quietly above the valley. They do not arrive all at once. One shines in the deepening blue above the eastern horizon. Then another appears a little higher. Before long, the sky is filled with tiny lights, each one calm and steady, watching over the river as they have done for countless generations. The last glow of the sun lingers along the western desert. Its golden color slowly fades into soft shades of rose, then lavender, then the deep blue of approaching night. The air grows cooler. It is only a gentle change, but after a long day beneath the Egyptian sun, every cool breeze feels welcome. Keem steps inside the family home. The thick mud brick walls have kept much of the day's heat outside. The room is dim, lit by a single oil lamp whose quiet flame dances gently whenever the evening breeze enters through the doorway. The familiar smell of supper fills every corner. His mother kneels beside a clay cooking pot resting above glowing coals. The fire is no longer large. Only a few pieces of wood and dried reeds burn softly, giving just enough warmth to finish the evening meal. She stirs the pot slowly with a wooden spoon polished smooth by many years of use. Inside, lentils have cooked until they are soft and creamy. Small pieces of onion float near the surface. Fresh herbs, gathered that morning, add a gentle fragrance. Beside the pot, warm loaves of bread rest beneath a clean linen cloth. Their crusts are lightly browned. The smell makes the little house feel even more welcoming. Keem washes before sitting down. A clay basin stands near the doorway. His mother pours cool water over his dusty hands. The water carries away tiny bits of soil, straw, and chaff from the harvest. He rubs his hands carefully. The rough skin along his palms reminds him of the day's work. His father washes next. The older man's hands tell an even longer story. Fine lines of dried mud remain beneath his fingernails despite careful cleaning. His knuckles are broad. His fingers are strong. Each wrinkle has been shaped by years of farming beside the Nile. His younger sister giggles quietly as she washes. She splashes a little too much water onto the floor. Their mother smiles. It seems the floor wished to wash as well. The little girl laughs softly. She quickly wipes away the spilled water with a piece of woven cloth. Even small mistakes become gentle lessons. Soon the family gathers around a low wooden table. It is not a grand table. Its surface bears scratches from many years of daily meals. One corner has been repaired with a small wooden peg. The repair is nearly as old as Keem himself. His father had fixed it long ago rather than building another. Nothing useful is replaced before it truly must be. His mother tears the first loaf into equal pieces. Each person receives warm bread. A bowl of lentils is passed from one pair of hands to another. There are cucumbers sliced into thin rounds. Several dates lie upon a small woven tray. A little goat cheese has been wrapped in cool linen since the morning. The meal is simple. Yet it feels generous. Everyone has worked hard today. Everyone has earned this quiet hour together. For a few moments, there is only the sound of eating. Bread is dipped into the lentils. Water is poured into small clay cups. Someone quietly sighs with contentment. Outside, crickets begin their evening song. The rhythm is steady. Almost endless. Keem's father finally speaks. The barley field near the western canal is nearly finished. His mother nods. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. She thinks for a moment. I will bake 2 extra loaves before sunrise. He smiles. The neighbors will help. She nods again. And we will help them when their turn comes. The conversation is short. There is no need to explain further. Every family understands this way of living. One day they receive help. Another day they offer it. The harvest belongs to everyone because everyone depends upon one another. After supper, Keem carries the empty bowls outside. The evening air feels wonderfully cool upon his face. The village has become quieter now. Cooking fires burn low. Thin threads of smoke rise gently into the peaceful sky before disappearing among the stars. Nearby, an elderly woman sits outside her home spinning flax. The spindle turns slowly in her patient hands. Round and round. Round and round. She no longer works as quickly as she once did. There is no reason to hurry. The thread grows little by little. That is enough. Across the narrow lane, a father repairs a pair of sandals by the light of a small oil lamp. The leather straps have begun to wear thin after many weeks in the fields. Rather than making new sandals, he carefully threads fresh leather through the old holes. His son watches closely. One day those sandals may belong to him. Or perhaps he will simply remember how to repair his own. The quiet knowledge passes from one generation to the next. Not through books. Not through grand speeches. Through evenings exactly like this one. Farther down the lane, the village baker finishes cleaning his oven. The last loaves have already been carried home. He uses a long wooden tool to pull glowing embers into a neat pile. Tomorrow, before the stars have faded, he will light the fire once again. The rhythm never truly stops. It simply rests. Keem walks toward the canal with the empty water jar. The moon has begun to rise. Its pale light falls gently across the still water. The surface reflects both the moon and the first stars, broken only by the occasional ripple of a fish rising briefly before disappearing once more. Reeds sway softly along the bank. A frog leaps quietly from one stone into the cool water. Circles spread across the surface. They widen, grow fainter, then vanish completely. The river accepts every small movement without complaint. At the landing, several boats are tied securely for the night. Their ropes creak softly against wooden posts as the gentle current pulls them this way and that. One fisherman remains awake. He sits cross-legged inside his boat, mending a basket used to hold the day's catch. His lantern casts a warm circle of light across the worn planks. Keem watches him for a moment. The fisherman notices. "Tomorrow comes early." "It does," Keem replies. The old man smiles kindly. "But the river is always waiting." Keem nods. He fills the clay jar carefully. The cool water makes a pleasant bubbling sound as it rises. He lifts the heavy jar onto his shoulder. It is a familiar weight. Not easy. Not difficult. Simply part of life. On the walk home, he passes the small village shrine. An oil lamp burns quietly inside. Fresh flowers have been placed beside a simple offering of bread. The fragrance of lotus blossoms lingers gently in the cool evening air. No crowd gathers there. Only one elderly farmer stands quietly with his head bowed. After a few peaceful moments, he turns and walks home beneath the stars. There is no ceremony. Only quiet gratitude. When Keem returns, his mother has finished washing the cooking bowls. She places them upside down upon a wooden shelf to dry overnight. His younger sister has already begun to yawn. The long day has made her sleepy. She curls herself upon a woven mat while their mother gently smooths her hair. His father sits near the doorway. He sharpens the edge of his flint sickle with slow, careful movements. The stone slides softly along the blade. Again. And again. Tiny sparks of reflected lamplight dance across the polished flint. A sharp tool makes tomorrow's work easier. Caring for it now is another quiet gift to the morning. Outside, the village grows still. The carpenter's workshop is dark. The potter's wheel has stopped turning. The market stands empty beneath the moon. Only the steady song of crickets, the distant murmur of the Nile, and the whisper of the evening breeze remain awake. Keem steps outside one last time before sleep. He looks up at the endless sky. The stars seem brighter now. He wonders how many evenings they have watched over these same fields. How many children have stood exactly where he stands. How many harvests have come and gone beneath their gentle light. The river flows quietly beyond the reeds. Its patient waters carry the moon upon their surface, just as they carried the sun only hours before. Nothing seems hurried. Nothing seems forgotten. The Nile moves onward, calm and unchanging, while another peaceful Egyptian night settles gently over the little village, wrapping its homes, its fields, and its tired workers in the comforting silence that comes after a day of honest labor. The village sleeps beneath a quiet sky. The last sounds of the evening have faded into the darkness. The voices that drifted gently through the narrow lanes have become silent. The cooking fires have settled into beds of glowing coals. Even the dogs that watched over the homes have curled themselves into peaceful circles beside warm walls of mud brick. Above everything, the stars remain. They shine with a calm light that seems older than memory itself. The Nile reflects them one by one. Its waters move so gently that each star stretches into a long silver line before breaking softly apart with the slow current. Nothing asks to be hurried. The river has all the time in the world. Inside the family home, the oil lamp burns lower. Its small flame flickers once as a cool breeze slips through the doorway, then steadies again. Keem lies asleep upon his woven mat. His breathing is slow. His hands, rough from gathering barley, rest quietly against the folded linen beneath his head. The tiredness in his shoulders has begun to melt away. Tomorrow they will ache a little less. Then tomorrow evening they will ache again. This rhythm is as familiar as the turning of the seasons. Beside him, his younger sister sleeps with one arm wrapped around a small cloth doll sewn by their mother many years ago. The doll is simple. Its face is only a few careful stitches. Its body has been repaired more than once. A new piece of linen covers one shoulder where the old cloth finally wore through. It is loved. That is why it has lasted so long. Their mother sleeps lightly. Years of caring for children have taught her to wake at the smallest sound. A cough. A whispered dream. The scrape of a sandal outside. Even while resting, part of her listens to the quiet world around her. Their father sleeps nearest the doorway. His sickle rests upon a wooden peg above him. Tomorrow it will return to the fields. Tonight it simply hangs in silence. Outside, the moon has climbed higher. Its pale light falls across the rooftops where many families have chosen to sleep in the cooler night air. Blankets rise and fall gently with peaceful breathing. A little boy rolls over in his sleep and pulls the edge of his blanket closer. An old grandfather lies awake for only a moment, looking toward the stars before his eyes slowly close once more. Somewhere nearby, a baby stirs. Its mother hums only a few quiet notes. The child settles almost immediately. The melody fades into the night. Far beyond the village, where the green fields slowly meet the endless desert, a gentle wind moves across the sand. It smooths yesterday's footprints. Tiny ridges form and disappear. The desert changes quietly every night. Yet by morning it always seems familiar again. Closer to the river, reeds sway together. The soft brushing of their leaves creates a gentle whisper that rises and falls with the breeze. A heron stands motionless in the shallow water. Its long legs hardly disturb the surface. It waits with endless patience. Occasionally it turns its head. Then it becomes still again. Patience is everywhere beside the Nile. The fishermen know it. The farmers know it. Even the birds seem to understand it. At the small landing, the boats rest against their wooden posts. The ropes tighten gently as the current pulls them downstream before easing again. The wood gives a quiet creak. It is a sound heard every night. The fishermen sleeping nearby no longer notice it. It has become part of the river's voice. Inside one boat lies a neatly folded fishing net. Earlier that evening its owner repaired every torn place. Now it waits for dawn. The net does not know whether tomorrow will bring many fish or only a few. It simply waits. Nearby, clay jars filled with fresh water stand beneath woven covers. The cool night air helps keep the water pleasant for the morning. Tiny drops of moisture gather upon the smooth clay. In the moonlight they shine like little pearls. The village well stands empty now. Its long rope hangs quietly over the worn stone edge. During the day it is surrounded by conversation and laughter. Tonight only the breeze visits. A wooden bucket sways gently. Its shadow moves across the ground with the moonlight. The marketplace rests in silence. Earlier that day merchants arranged onions, figs, linen, pottery, and baskets with great care. Now every stall has been covered. Woven mats protect the goods from drifting dust. The scales used for measuring grain lie neatly folded away. Nothing has been forgotten. Everything waits for another morning. The potter's workshop is peaceful. Rows of newly shaped bowls stand upon wooden shelves. They are almost dry now. Tomorrow they will be placed inside the hot kiln. One bowl has a tiny fingerprint near its base. The potter noticed it but chose not to smooth it away. It harms nothing. Instead, it quietly reminds him that every vessel passes through human hands. Across the lane, the carpenter's tools hang neatly upon the wall. His adze, his chisels, his wooden mallet. Each has been cleaned before sleep. Fine curls of wood still rest upon the workshop floor, carrying the sweet smell of freshly cut timber. Even in silence, the room feels full of quiet work. A cat wanders through the empty street. Its paws make almost no sound against the packed earth. It pauses beside a doorway, listens for a moment, then continues toward the granary where mice sometimes search for scattered grain. Its movements are slow, unhurried. The night belongs to creatures that ask for little. The granary itself stands strong and quiet. Its thick walls protect the barley gathered during many long days beneath the sun. Inside, neat piles of grain rest in woven bins. Each handful has been cut, gathered, carried, and stored with patient care. Each handful will become bread. No family looks at the stored grain with pride alone. They look at it with gratitude. The harvest is never taken for granted. It is accepted as a gift earned through many months of labor and the kindness of the river. High above the village, the stars continue their slow journey across the heavens. The oldest people sometimes look up and remember stories told by their own grandparents. Stories of the stars guiding travelers. Stories of the river rising each year as it always has. Stories of fathers teaching sons. Of mothers teaching daughters. Of children becoming parents in their turn. The stories are not written upon papyrus. They live in memory. They are carried from one quiet evening to another. As the night deepens, the air grows even cooler. The warmth stored inside the mud brick walls slowly slips away. A pleasant chill settles across the valley. Blankets are pulled a little closer. The reeds continue their gentle song. Far away, a jackal calls only once. Then silence returns. Keem stirs in his sleep. He dreams of the river. He dreams of standing barefoot at the edge of the water just before sunrise. Mist drifts across the surface. White birds lift slowly into the sky. His father is already waiting with the baskets. His mother smiles as warm bread cools beside the oven. The dream feels so peaceful that it almost seems real. Perhaps it is only memory gently becoming tomorrow. Hours pass without anyone counting them. The moon slowly begins its journey downward. The stars in the eastern sky become just a little fainter. Night is not ending yet. But somewhere beyond the distant horizon, morning has already begun its quiet walk toward the Nile. The village does not know it. The people continue sleeping. The boats continue rocking gently. The river continues flowing north. The fields rest after another day of honest work. And beneath the endless sky of ancient Egypt, the forgotten lives of ordinary people remain wrapped in the deep, comforting silence before another peaceful dawn arrives. Now the valley has become completely still. The moon hangs low above the Nile, casting its gentle light across the water. The reeds along the banks sway with the softest touch of the night breeze. Every ripple catches a little silver before disappearing once more into the slow, endless current. The fields are quiet. The barley has been gathered. The baskets have been stacked inside cool storerooms. The sickles rest upon wooden pegs. The oxen lie peacefully beneath their shelters, their breathing slow and steady after another day of patient work. Inside the little mud brick homes, the lamps have burned low. Their tiny flames have quietly faded, leaving only the pale light of the moon to slip through open doorways. The smell of fresh bread has become only a gentle memory lingering in the cool air. Clay jars stand silently against the walls. Woven baskets wait for tomorrow. Sandals rest neatly beside sleeping mats. Nothing asks to be done until morning. Keem sleeps beside his family. The roughness of the day's work has softened into peaceful dreams. His father rests after another harvest day beside the river that has cared for his family throughout his life. His mother sleeps knowing tomorrow's flour has already been ground, tomorrow's bread is already planned, and tomorrow's sunrise will find her ready once again. His little sister dreams beneath the same stars that watched over her grandparents and their grandparents before them. Outside, the village breathes as one. Every home is wrapped in the same quiet darkness. Every family shares the same gentle night. The baker sleeps. The fisherman sleeps. The potter sleeps. The carpenter sleeps. The scribe sleeps. The shepherd sleeps. The old grandmother who spun flax beneath the sycamore tree rests peacefully. The children who laughed while chasing birds through the barley fields have grown still beneath their blankets. Even the animals settle into silence. Only the Nile remains awake. Patient. Unhurried. Faithful. It flows as it did long before these villages were built. It flowed before the first farmer planted grain beside its banks. It will continue flowing long after every footprint in the dust has disappeared beneath the passing wind. The great kings carved their names into stone. Their monuments reached toward the sky. But the quiet people, the farmers, the mothers, the fishermen, the bakers, the builders, the children carrying water from the river left behind something different. They left behind the rhythm of ordinary life. A loaf of bread shared with family. A repaired basket used through another harvest. A child learning from patient hands. A quiet evening beneath the stars. A home built with care. A field tended with hope. These simple moments were never carved into temple walls. Yet they filled countless peaceful days beside the Nile. Perhaps that is the truest history of all. Not only the stories of rulers remembered by name, but the gentle lives of millions whose days began before sunrise, whose hands shaped the earth with quiet determination, and whose evenings ended beneath the same calm sky. Tonight, we have walked beside one of those forgotten lives. We have listened to the whisper of barley in the breeze. We have followed dusty paths between fields and canals. We have felt the cool touch of river water before dawn. We have rested beneath the shade of ancient sycamore trees. We have watched warm bread rise inside humble clay ovens. And now, like the people of that quiet village, it is time simply to rest. Imagine the Nile once more. Its water moves without effort. The moon shines softly upon its surface. The reeds sway. A distant frog calls only once. Then silence returns. The breeze carries the scent of fresh water across the sleeping fields. The stars remain above, bright and unchanging. Nothing needs your attention now. There is no work left for tonight. The baskets have been carried home. The grain is safely stored. The fires have grown quiet. The doors are gently closed. The river keeps its patient watch. As the night grows deeper, even the sounds of the valley seem to drift farther away. The gentle current continues toward the northern sea. The moon slowly crosses the heavens. The stars turn almost too slowly to see. Everything settles into peaceful stillness. And somewhere along the timeless banks of the ancient Nile, beneath a sky filled with quiet stars, a small village sleeps safely through the night, held gently in the endless rhythm of the river. May your own thoughts become as calm as that slow-moving water. May your breathing find the same steady rhythm as the Nile. May the quiet fields, the warm desert breeze, the soft glow of moonlight, and the peaceful voices of long-forgotten people slowly fade into the distance, carrying you gently toward deep and restful sleep. Good night.